Well, good morning, and yeah, welcome to a damp Cants mere. Yeah, nice and local for home. I've just got a day session on here. It's one of the lakes I fish on with Chelmsford ticket water, so I can do 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. on here. And yeah, booked the day off work. Just thought I'd come fishing when hopefully the lakes are quiet. I mean, I got here as you're allowed to, 5:45 this morning. There were 6 cars in the car park, so yeah, 6 people doing the night, of which 4 people were on this lake. But if you don't know the complex, it's the same car park. Just behind me you've got Blunt'smere and this is Cantsmere. So I thought I'd get here and yeah, just have a walk around, albeit it was a wet one because we'd had quite a lot of rain all night, which wasn't the forecast. Forecast was for rain later today, but yeah, it's not forecast to rain now, and it's just stopped drizzling. So according to the app, that's the end of the rain for today. So nonetheless, yeah, I walked around. I thought I'll walk around both lakes, and if I see fish, then I'll set up on them. But never found any fish at all, not any fizzing or anything. So a part of me when I'm walking around, I'm thinking, oh, you should be fishing now, 6 a.m, you want baits in the water. But the other part of me was, I don't know either lake. I've fished up on Blunts once. I did, I think it was December. I did a day on there and had a small double out of one of the swims. So, you know, why set up where you don't know a lake? I don't want to be crashing around a marker float finding spots when it's take time. So the plan was to try and find some fish. That said, I didn't find any. Nothing showed on the whole over an hour and a quarter I was walking around. So yeah, in that time one of the guys who was doing nights, who's over there, was up by his rod, so I had a quick chat with him. He hadn't had anything in the night. He said he'd heard fish in the night, but he couldn't say where they were, but he'd not had anything. One of the other swims I walked past further down this way, the guy's sling and mat were pretty wet. That said, as I've said, it rained all night, so it could have just been they got wet in the night rather than he'd had a fish. So, being I couldn't find any fish, I thought I'd just set up in a little corner away from everybody, and just also I've got a good view of the whole lake, so if I see fish down the other end and there's nobody down the other end at the moment, I can move on to those fish. Nonetheless, I've probably 25 yards out, I've got a nice canopy to my left, and I had a little flick with a lead. Feels like it's probably 3 or 4 foot drop on that lead before it hit bottom, and it was a solid donk as the lead went down. So I've just put a little pop up under there and been catapulting hemp and corn around it, and I have had a liner on that already, and when I looked out, I can't quite see the spot from where I am. There was a bit of fizzing ironically off of the canopy, just short of the canopy rather than under it, but that could have been bream or tench, and I think that's what the liner was. So I'm happy to leave that there, certainly for a bit longer. I may change it later on to perhaps a little bit of plastic corn as I'm putting corn and hemp out there, but we'll see, we'll play it by ear. I don't want to be played by roach and bream and things. There is everything in this lake. The other rod is just on the edge of a canopy to an island in front of me. Again, it's probably only, I don't know, 40 yards, 50 yards maybe, at a push. And what I've done there, I've put a scattering of boilers, probably 50, 60 baits, but they're spread out all around the island. I've just thinking, you spread them out in the hope that the fish will come along and just pick up a bait, move on, pick up a bait, move on. By the time it's done that a few times, by the time it gets to my bait, it's got used to finding these single baits, and it'll pick that up and nail itself. So that's in a solid PVA bait again, because I don't really know what the bottom's like out there. The couple of casts I had felt clear. When I brought it back, there was no weed on the lead, or I did put one cast out with an old rig on it, no weed on the hook, so I'm pretty certain that's quite clear. Not such a good donk as it went down though. So we'll see. I'm going to leave that out there for an hour and a half. Just see what happens. See if we can get a fish. I mean, I've come down on this lake because it's got bigger fish than Blunt's. Blunt's apparently is a bit easier, but this has got bigger fish, and yeah, I'd like to get a decent fish. Apart from a French strip, I've not caught a carp this year. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. I've not done a lot, and most of the fishing I've done has been on a syndicate, which is pretty tough. So hopefully I'll update the vlog as we go through the day with a fish or two. That would be nice. But yeah, I will update it, especially if I've moved swims and seen fish, just to try and put some entertainment into the vlog, make it worth watching. So yeah, see you in a bit. Okay, just a little update. It's 23 now. Yeah, I've not had anything yet. It's had a weird occurrence on the left hand rod, one under that canopy, had quite a big drop back. Thought I'd better hit it, and yeah, no lead there. Never had that before. I can't believe the fish has picked that up and shaken its head so ferociously that the lead's come off, but that must be what's happened. And that was on a blowback rig as well. I don't quite understand it. The ring wasn't blown back either, so a bit of a strange one there. But yeah, I've continued to put bait onto that spot, albeit I was just flicking out all the loose particle originally, but it becoming a problem with the geese. As I was firing it out, they were coming over, and the odd duck was coming over. So at one point I think I'd probably every goose in the neighbourhood was in my swim. So what I decided to do, I scalded down a bit of pellet I had in the car. Now I've mashed up into little balls of basically scalded down pellet, hemp and corn. And I can fire those little balls out, and you know they're getting to the bottom. And yeah, seemingly the geese have gone. I don't know if that's because I was doing them by the ball instead of loosely, but anyway, the bait's getting out there, the rod's back on the spot, so hopeful of a fish on there. Then about an hour after that, a fish showed just out where I'm going under the canopy. If you look to the right where the trees come out, they probably come out, I've looked at it, I reckon you're 20 to 30 foot of tree cover from the side of the bank there. And a fish showed just on the edge of the tree, so I've moved one rod over to there now on the solid PVA bag with the pop-up on the bottom. Oh, that's the other change I made to that. I took the pop-up off, put on a little 16mm boilie with a bit of plastic corn on top, and that was what the aborted take or whatever it was on. So yeah, the only other fish I've seen, one fish showed twice, probably halfway along, and I mean the guy may have gone now, but there was a guy on the swim roughly where that fish was showing, and he may have gone, but it only showed twice. And you know, I've had just as many shows in my own swim as there, so I've decided not to move and just sit on it and see what happens. So yeah, it's, you know, it feels quite good for a bite. But a couple of people walked around, and whoever you talk to, they said everyone they've spoken to, no one's had a fish yet. So we'll see what happens. Keep the rods out there. Plan is to fish until I guess 9:30. I've got to be out the car park by 10, I think it is. It might be 10:15. But yeah, I'm going to fish on until 9:30, I guess, and yeah, I'll update this vlog. Hopefully with a fish before I'm packing up, but if not, I'll do it just as I'm packing up to let you know what did or didn't happen. So yeah, see you later on. Okay, well, time's getting on and sun's going down, so I just thought I'd wrap this up while the light's still there. Not caught anything yet, obviously, otherwise you would have seen it by now. If I do catch anything, I will. I've got some lights with me and things, I can edit it in somehow. Excuse me. So yeah, disappointing day so far. That said, I have seen a fish back out where I had a rod this morning, so I've moved the rod back out onto that spot again. Bailiff came around probably an hour ago and said on his walk no one's had anything on this lake for a couple of days now. And also he said Blunts has fished really badly for a few days. He said yeah, people are struggling on there, blanking, so very strange. Thought today the overcast, relatively low pressure, thought fish would feed, so very strange. I think what I'm going to do, I'm off again in a couple of weeks. I've got another day off, so I'm going to come back and continue this vlog then. So hopefully get a fish on it and make it worth going on YouTube. So unless something happens in the next few hours, that's it for now. But yeah, I'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks time when I'm back again. See you then. Well, good morning, and yeah, welcome back. It's, I said, I think the last April, I was down on Cants. Said, yeah, I'll come back in a couple of weeks time. Well, now it's February. So yeah, without boring you too much, I didn't do a lot of fishing last year. I just never got back over here, other than one time I came over because I've dropped onto Blunts now. Cants is just behind me. I'm on Bluntsmere today. I did come over one afternoon, just did 4 hours, and yeah, I had 4 doubles, small doubles out of here. But ironically, all on the float. It's I'd put quite a bit of hemp out, and I was getting loads of knocks and bleeps and loads of fizzing all around the hemp, but none of them were turning into runs. So in the end, I wound one of the rods in, got my tench rod out, put a float on it, and yeah, 4 casts on the trot with a little bit of corn on a size 12 hook, 4 carp. So yeah, it was just a short session, didn't have any cameras with me, anything, but they were only low doubles anyway. So yeah, I'm over here now. I'm on, as I say, I'm on Bluntsmere. Probably spin the camera around and see if you can see the lake, hopefully. So yeah, I've not fished this peg before. Well, as I say, I've only fished this lake once before. So I've dropped in here, and I got here, as you're allowed to, 6 o'clock this morning. It was still dark. Crept down into this swim the best you can, albeit there's quite a few steps down, and I don't want to leave my barra up the top with all my gear on it, because it's yeah, it's one of those Nash barras with everything sat in it. So yeah, a little bit of noise getting the barra down, but nonetheless, crept in. 2 little casts, quite far out, so as I didn't disturb close in, then dragged back. And what I've got under, just under here, I've got a nice 6 foot gravel spot, and then just under that side there, I've got a 7 foot gravel spot. So literally, you don't want to be putting a lot of bait out this time of year. As I say, it's mid-February. Yes, it's 9 degrees today, but the water temperature is still very cold. We've had very high pressure for probably a week now. I mean, today it's dropped a bit, the pressure. We're down to 1019, which is still high, but it has been up around the 1030s and everything. So and tomorrow it's back up to 1030 again. So yeah, I'm over here, see what we can do. As I say, you don't want to be putting much bait in this time of year. The fish are only just on the move. They're definitely not eating a lot of food. So both pegs, I've got literally 2 catapults of hemp out, a handful of corn, and then my favourite method on these little lakes is the little solid PVA bag with a bit of pellet in there on one wafter, a little 12mm wafter, or it might even be 14mm wafter on one of them, definitely 12mm on one, 14 on the other. And yeah, the rods are out. I mean, eagle-eyed people, if you watch some of my other vlogs, you might think, what's happened to his rods and those little bait runner reels? But yeah, I don't feel the need to bring my Century C2s and my ISOs on these little club lakes. So there they are. Those rods were built for me probably 20 years ago by Simpsons of Chelmsford. Shop's long gone now, but yeah, handmade specifically for me. And my little bait runner reels were just sitting in the shed, so I just thought, yeah, let's get get the old gear back together for these little club lakes and just see how we do. I mean, it's weird using a bait runner after, I don't know how many years that I'd been using ISOs. Before the ISOs I was using Entos, so I've used big pits for a long time. I mean, this vlog, when it started down on Cants, I bought those rods out and that was the first time I'd used them. As I'm talking, I've got a little bit of fizzing out. I don't know if we can see it just out, sort of there. It's just stopped now. I know a bit more bubbling coming up. So what I tend to do today, let's turn that slightly, see if we can see that fizzing. What I intend to do today is just keep an eye out. If any signs like that show, I'll possibly just move a rod. I've got some little PVA bags made up, ready to go. They're on lead core leaders because you're allowed lead core here, which is good, especially when you're fishing close in. I'm just resting nicely flat on the bottom. And the line's quite slack. Again, if you've watched my other vlogs, I don't like fishing slack lines, but obviously when you're fishing, I don't know what I am. Don't know. I'm probably actually 12 foot out and 20 foot to each side, but yeah, I'm not far out. I want all that line laying on the bottom. So yeah, that's the plan. So speak to you in a bit. Okay, welcome back. Well, it's yeah, just gone midday now. It's finally warming up. Just got my jacket off. Had my jacket on all morning. Yeah, left the rods out till, well, I'm going to say left them out to 10 o'clock. Right hand rod, I had a little take at just about 8 o'clock, 8:15, something like that. And yeah, scrappy little common, 13.5 pound. I did weigh him and photograph him for the, well, just for the vlog. And I meant to photograph all my fish because I get my bait discounted. And I meant to upload photos at least onto Facebook of every fish you catch. And last year I didn't, apart from the French fish, because they were all just doubles. I didn't photograph any last year. So this year I've got to make the effort to put some photos on the, at least on the Facebook page. So photograph that one. And a sign of how cold it is, you know, that fish didn't hardly move. Bearing in mind it was in a margin and a solid PVA bag. Normally the combination solid PVA bags are always screamers because they're not expecting to suck in all that bait and suddenly get hooked, and they normally scream off. And every margin fish I've ever had always screams off. But that fish, it was just two bleeps. I could see the tip slightly going on the rod, lifted into it, yeah, and this common, he was like a block of ice when I got him out because the water is so cold still. But nonetheless, you know, that was a fish, 13.8 it was, so slipped him back, put a rod back on that spot, and then nothing happened. I gave that till 10 o'clock and I'd left my water in the car, so couldn't have a cup of coffee, so I wound in at 10 o'clock, went back to the car, walked around the other lake on the way just to see if I could see any fish. Spoke to the two guys who had done the night and they'd had nothing down on Cants. There's a couple of match blokes when I'm walking back along this lake. Just catching roach and stuff on here, and there's a guy either side of me now, carp fishing. They've not had anything either. So put the right hand rod back out on the same spot, left hand rod on the spot where it was. Again, try not to introduce too much bait, as I said earlier. It's too early in the year, the fish are not getting their heads down. Nothing happened on either rod, so I've put the left hand rod over onto the far margin now, and since putting it there I've had a few bleeps. I'm not sure if I've gone a bit too far on there, the odd liner, or whether it's small fish honing in on the pellets in the bag. But I'm going to leave it out there a little bit longer. I've also had a cast around with a marker rod, just a couple of casts. I don't want to make much disturbance. Dragged back from the far margin, I come off into a 9 foot, 9 foot, 9 foot. I kept coming back until you start coming up the slope. Made a note of where that is, and I've just introduced a little bit of hemp seed and a little bit of pellet on there, and if nothing happens in the next hour I will move a rod onto that point I'll keep the right hand rod on the point or on the spot where I had to take from earlier. But I think this time of year, your next few hours is probably it's the warmest part of the day now. If the fish are going to feed, in my opinion, February time, it's going to be now, the next few hours. If you haven't had one by 4 o'clock, I mean, I won't fish on beyond 4 o'clock in February. I just don't think they're going to feed after then. You've missed your window if you haven't had one by then. I'm not convinced fish will get caught in the evenings or nights this time of year. If you look on social media, fish that are caught are generally being caught in the daytime at the moment. So they're far and few between, but the ones that are caught are in the daytime. So certainly I'll persevere for the next couple of hours, 3 hours or so, and yeah, hopefully catch another fish and get it on the flog for you. Yeah, either way, I'll wrap this up in probably 3.5 hours time. Just before 4 o'clock, I'll wrap the flog up, see how we've got on, see if we've had any more fish. But until then, tight lines. Well, here we go now. So it's 3:30 now. So slow pack up. Going to pull off for 4. Nothing else has happened. No more fish. Not for a lack of trying. The guy is up from me. He's gone now. He never had a fish at all. He did put a lot of boilies out there. So my personal opinion, I don't think that's the right tactic this time of year. As I said, the water's really cold. You bring a rod in after 2 hours and there's a thick lug of glue around the top of the lead where your PVA bag, yes, your bag's melted, but the thick bit wrapped around the top hasn't dissolved. So that's how cold the water is. You're in 7 foot of water, I think, just off the edge, 6 foot over there. And yeah, you've always got gooey bits on top of your lead still. So what could I say about here? Nice lake. I've enjoyed the lake, enjoyed my day here. But it looks really good in a few months' time. So I will come back. Probably finish this flog up when I come back. And I really will come back because I've got more time on my hands this year. And we'll be fishing a lot more than I did last year. And as I said, making the effort to photograph some of the fish, even though they may be just doubles, I will photograph them, hopefully make the vlogs more entertaining. So yeah, good little lake. By all accounts, it produces a lot of fish later in the year. So I'll come back and do another vlog. So wrap this one up with hopefully a few more fish. So yeah, see you on the bank then. Well, good morning, welcome back on Bluntsmere. I think at the end of the last one I said to finish this vlog next season because the lakes and that closed literally tomorrow. But yeah, had a chance to get over here today. The weather is absolutely spot on. Got a new southwesterly wind, very low pressure. Can't remember what it is, 998 or something, very low pressure. So just fancy coming over, give it a go and see if we can wrap this vlog up with some fish. So yeah, we got here at 6 o'clock. I say we, I've got a friend over the back there, guy Peter, who works at my place as a contractor. And not my place, I don't own the place where I work. And yeah, he's over the back. I've dropped into this swim. No fish showing, so I just fancied a little area. I'll spin the camera around over to my left. So yeah, there's a little area over sort of there, just past that bush. It's a bit of an awkward cast because right above me you can see other people obviously cast there because there's 4 leads in the tree above me. But yeah, dropped a little pop up in there with a short PVA bag on it, PVA stick even, not bag. And yeah, I've had one already, only 14.8, but yeah, I've had one already. And the other rod is, if I can and spin this round a bit more. It's just out, literally 2 rod lengths out, just over here. You've got a gravel spot in 5 foot, and then it drops off beyond that into 7 foot. I'm actually on the 5 foot at the moment, but if nothing happens there, I shall move the rod out onto the slightly deeper 7 foot spot. Well, as you can see, sun's coming up and it's really bright now, but literally 10 minutes ago it was pouring with rain, dark as night. So I think it's going to be a coat on, coat off, hat on, hat off day today, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. Let's turn that back around. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Like I say, bright sunshine now, and we'll just see what happens. I mean, there's a couple of guys here we didn't bother talking to, but done the night. Me personally, it's too many small fish in here, I think, for me to want to do a night on here. But, as I say, I don't have a night ticket for this lake anyway, or this club. But yeah, we'll see what happens. See if we can get some fish out, get some photos at least on the camera. Obviously, if I do get a take, whilst I've got the camera set up and I can get it on the vlog, I will get it on the vlog, as I've done in the past, but not for a while now, since I've had an action shot, if you like. But yeah, that's it for now, and update you later on. Okay, so let's wrap the vlog up. It's yeah, been a good day. Had what have I had? 6 fish. My mate over there's had 2 fish, not big uns. I think I've had 14, 4, I think 14 and a half, 17, 2, 13, 6 and 14 and a half again. Something like that, but yeah, at the end of the day, you know, six fish in a day session, not bad. You know, obviously I would like a 20, but that can't always be the case. But yeah, what can you say about the lake? You know, it's not a big lake. As I think I said this morning, I definitely would not be doing nights on here. It's, you know, maybe some people like catching a lot of doubles in the night, but me personally, I'd rather not. Not if you can catch them in the day anyway. So yeah, didn't get back onto Cants. Originally, I was thinking I might have popped down there for the afternoon just to try and nick a fish, but yeah, although it's a Monday, there's 22 cars in the car park. It is absolutely rammed, simply because, as I said earlier, the club closes the lakes tomorrow evening, so people are set up for the night and tomorrow, just to see if they can winkle a decent fish out before the club closes the lakes. So yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot else I can say about the lake. It's, you know, it's a nice lake for a day session. Like all the Chelmsford waters, toilets, decent car park, you're secure, and yeah, that's all I can say for it. So hopefully you've enjoyed the vlog. If you have, you can subscribe. There'll be a button somewhere down there, and yeah, you'll get notifications as and when I put new videos on. But for now, thanks for watching. See you soon.